Hello. Hi, guys. Welcome back to the witching half hour or so. It is a beautiful, crisp, cold day when I'm recording this. I've got some sunlight coming in my blind, and it's really odd because, we've had this chilly, crisp, snowy type winter this year in Vancouver, and we usually have like wet, soggy, gray, socked in. Yeah, and here we are. This is our last episode of the year, episode 26, and it's going to come live right at the solstice. We have a new moon this year during the solstice. There's a real theme this solstice about going into the cave and reflecting. That's what December really has been. I mean, it makes sense. Like, our collective always reflects at the end of the year, and we have this beautiful coming together of all the different holidays from all the different walks of spirituality, all celebrating the light coming back. So I've been ruminating about the podcast. I've been really reflecting on this, and I thought this episode I would just share with you guys where I'm at and what's been going on. So I had wanted a podcast for a long time. It took me a lot to get to the place where I was going to do this. I love podcasts. I don't think anyone who has a podcast doesn't also listen and enjoy this media. What had stopped me for the years was the idea that I didn't have anything to say. I didn't know what to say. I didn't think I had much that people wanted to listen to. And it has been so beautiful to have you all join me in my earbud coven and take this journey with me and learn with me and talk with my guests and just hang with us in your earbuds. I'm so very grateful for you guys. What really kind of solidified this idea for me and gave me the push, because I had been working on throat chakra stuff for a long time, was that I was out teaching. I was with one of my friends in the woods and I had a class. So we had to drive to where we got Wi-Fi and hotspot it in on Zoom so that I could host this class. And I thought it was more of kind of a 101 class, especially since the people I was teaching to were already on a path and they were working on their divination skills and they were working at their relationship with spirit and had some practices already. And I could see on people's faces as I was teaching what I thought was a basics class was that the information I carry around and have off the top of my head is not 101 stuff. I've been doing this long enough that I'm able to teach at a more than beginner level. And that had me really examining. I spent the rest of that camping trip paddleboarding with my girlfriend, eating good food, and chatting with my coven sister. And we got to the point where I started feeling confident about opening up to you guys and teaching online and opening up my audience through the podcast and going live with it. So then December 2021, I launched the podcast. I believe right around the solstice, I launched it. So we really are at our 1-year anniversary as we cuddle up in the dark nights before the light returns. And it's really amazing, the way spirit works in our life. Everything that you're drawn to, that you love, those are your gifts too. All of you curled up listening to this, if you feel drawn to this spirituality, if you feel drawn to the idea of reading cards or connecting with spirit or doing manifestation work or taking it that next step and doing actual spell work, the reason you are so on fire for these things is that is what you're supposed to do. We love the things that are on our path. We're aligned with them. And I thought about podcasting and talked myself out of it for a number of years. And that's okay too, right? I had to do the baby step work. I had to do the confidence work and the self-nurturing work to get to the place where I would just talk to you guys. It's actually kind of ironic. I spent many years, I think, maybe 4 or 5 years really working on my chakra system and my throat chakra. I had so many blockages in my throat chakra. I really struggled with my throat chakra. So it's interesting that now on the other side of that, I have a podcast. Putting my voice out in the world is the art form that I have chosen and the media platform that I have chosen. And I'm much more comfortable behind the microphone than I am on YouTube. Even though I have that YouTube channel, I'm much more comfortable just talking to you. I feel, maybe I'll get there. Maybe I'll love YouTube soon. And I wanted to talk to you guys about how when we put the tiniest steps forward towards what we desire, when we go into alignment with our purpose in life, it's amazing how the universe and the goddesses and the manifestation answers back. That's what I found. I knew as soon as I got on the microphone and started producing and putting things out into the world, it would change and it would help me grow, because I've seen this before in other things. For years, I read for my friends and family, and I loved playing with tarot cards. And when I took it that much further and I started working on the psychic line in the 90s, exponentially my confidence grew and things opened up and people came to me, and how I was practicing as a little broom closet witch changed because of the people in my life. And when I went back to reading in bookstores and different new age stores in the 2000s, because I took time off to have my kids and to work on my muggle career, when I went back to it, again, the tiniest move forward that we do is answered so hugely when we're on our path and on our purpose. And that's happening with the podcast too. There is so much I have planned in my head for you guys. I'm really excited about this next year that we're going to spend together. I have finally gotten organized. It's taken me some time. I've wanted to offer you guys a newsletter, and I've probably have enough time to do that this year. I've gotten into a good rhythm with creating and putting out the podcast. So if you haven't been on the website yet, please go over and pop in your email address. There should be, I'm going to make sure it's live by the time this goes live, but I do have a form to connect with me and sign up for my newsletter. There has been no newsletter yet. And I do want to assure you that I'm not going to spam your inbox. I want to send out a newsletter once a month, just with stuff that relates to the podcast and the information I want to give you guys. So please go on over and do that. I've been spending a lot of December really reflecting and planning. I tend to do that in the solstice. Like I said before, I live in rainy Vancouver, and we will get overcast most of the time in December and January. It's so overcast that our houses can seem brighter at night when everyone's home, like at 7 p.m. after supper, when you have all the lights on and the TV on and everything. Our homes can seem brighter then than outside at noon. So it messes a bit with my circadian rhythms. I get really, really sleepy. I have to have like daylights, and I have to have like sad lights to help keep me balanced, I guess. And a few years ago, because self-care and nurturing and soothing my nervous system is a daily practice for me, I have many things built into my life so that I can thrive and not get exhausted and not get burnt out and have healthy boundaries. Moving through life in rhythm with nature has been a huge one for me. I do start really pulling back my energy and keeping it for myself through the Christmas season and through December, January, November, whenever the rain starts, whenever things start getting really dark. I would say as soon as we do daylight savings time and it's dark when I wake up and dark when I go to sleep, I have to turn up the self-nurture. Last year I did a whole series on it. We did baby steps to self-care, and there was a number of little tiny things you could do through December to nurture yourself. And as heads of household, those of us who are entertaining, planning magical, beautiful things for our families and our friend families and our circles, this is a time of year we can get really, really exhausted. So try to remember that the earth takes a break. Gaia takes a break. You deserve rest. You are allowed to take time to reflect. And if you can't do it in the days leading up to the celebrations you celebrate, then do it in the days after. Give yourself some love over January. It's really a time for us to go into those darknesses inside ourselves too. These rhythms of the earth, I often think of the last days of November and into December like as a really shedding and ruminating and looking, what do you want to take into the last half of winter? Because even though the light's returning, we still have dark days ahead of us. We still have cold ahead of us. And actually, solstice is rooted in, I'm sure you guys know this, like the feasting of solstice. Anthropologists have found that all the traditional religious teachings all worship the coming back of the light. Like that's what even Stonehenge, right? Like look at Stonehenge. It was built like forever ago, before even the Druids ruled the Celtic Isles, and they had everything in line with the solstice. So yes, the solstice is the returning of the light, and there's all these celebrations of light, and this is a time of celebration, but you know why they feasted? They would kill off the animals because there was no resources left to feed them. That's why they would have a huge feast. That's why all of the meat animals would get slaughtered, and there would be this huge rejoicing. They knew the promise of light was coming back, but they could not feed their goats and their chickens through the winter. So they slaughtered everything that was unnecessary and then cured it and kept it to sustain the villages and the people through the last half of winter. Because although we have the promise of the sun's return and the days are getting longer, 6 hours of light is still a lot of darkness. 6.5 hours of light in 3 weeks is still a lot of time in darkness. So as you sit after the holidays, really nurture yourself. Really look at what do you want to take with you into next year. And when I talk about next year, I'm thinking of Imbolc, and I'm thinking of the spring and the spring equinox. This is a natural time of reflection. It's a natural time of looking at our patterns, looking at our lives, looking at what we have, and letting go of what is not serving us. What do you no longer have the energy to do? What is sapping your resources and giving you less energy for what you need to do? Those are the things we want to slaughter and not carry through the last half of winter. And I've always thought it's kind of neat the way our contemporary modern culture has all these ideas around New Year's resolutions and, letting go of things and starting better habits. It's all in line with the wheel of time and pagan celebrations. It really is. I find it funny to me how much pagan themes are weaved through our modern times. So some of the things I've been looking at is this idea that I've been really wanting to start the newsletter, so I've done that. And I've been looking at what else I want to produce for you next year. And I believe what I'm going to do, it's still kind of ruminating, but I want to do a series on the elements for you guys. This is a very fundamental aspect of witchcraft, is our relationship with the 4 elements: earth, air, water, and fire. And part of what has motivated me and lit a little fire under my butt to get your newsletter out is, as part of this, I want to offer through the newsletter or the website some downloadable meditations you guys can do or work you guys can do to further your relationship with the elements. We're going to go through each one. And again, like I told you, I've been reflecting. This idea has been percolating for a long time. I think it was like last March, I was out on the far side of the island with one of my beautiful friends. We walk, she'll come visit my campsite and we'll walk the beach together in the morning and sip our coffee and visit before she has to go and do her day and before I go and do my day. And it's one of the things I really enjoy. We'd been walking and there was last winter we had these crazy things called atmospheric rivers. I'm sure you guys all remember them if you live here. And if not, you would have seen it on the news, right? Like it washed out our highways, it flooded Chilliwack. Like we had some crazy weather on the West Coast. And I knew like everything is connected, right? So I know that it would affect like the island and my friends throughout and my family who's on the island. And I was walking this beach and it's in a logging area and there's a river that empties into this beautiful bay that I am blessed enough to get to camp on regularly. There was so much debris from the rainstorms because these storms were intense and they filled up all the rivers, like the rivers ran. And so any deadfall that was around or any kind of logging debris that was around, all this stuff got washed into the river, then into the bay, and then the tides would come in and deposit all this debris all over the bay. And I'm going to try to find if I have a picture of it because I took some and I posted some. And I'll put it up in the show notes for this episode. But it was amazing to me to see the power of water, because we always think about water like we often think about water as this nurturing like mother goddess, you know, where water finds the easiest way and it's so beautiful and just let go and let the flow take you. And I was looking at the power of water and I was thinking about emotional work, and that's when the idea of this elemental series came to me. So it's been on the back burner and I'm happy to bring it to the fore burner for you guys. That's how we're going to start off the new year, is doing a series on elements. And from there, I don't know, I'm not sure how it's going to go. One of the things I'm going to keep in the podcast is our tarot episodes. I like them. I find them really fun to do. And you want to know a secret, guys? Part of why I'm doing them and I'm taking this deep look through the high arcana is I will put out a deck. I know I'm going to put out a deck. I'm not sure when. I do have a number of cards already done and drafted, but they're in a journal. They're in one of my scribblers sitting on the shelf because running the podcast has taken some of my creative juices flowing from one container into this container. And in order to keep kind of working on that, I'm doing this deep dive and doing this symbology. And you know what? I'm actually learning quite a bit. I know a lot about tarot. A lot of stuff is sometimes off my head, but I do research them and I learn aspects of different cards that I don't pay attention to as much or don't come up as much in the readings I've been doing. So I'm going to continue to do those for you. We're starting next week. We'll be looking at the Hermit card. So that's card 9. There's 21. We will probably, I guess if we're going to do the whole high arcana, we're going to be here for 3 years, guys. And since this episode seems to be turning into just me sharing with you about where I'm at and what I'm reflecting on, I'm going to let you know what I want to leave behind too. You know how I said that saying yes to the podcast has really caused huge growth in my personal relationship with spirit and in my own life? What I'm leaving behind and going to slaughter in these dark hours of the solstice, I have a lot of limiting ideas. And that is what I've been looking at. My journals have been like super reflective and super deep work. Deep, dark work has been happening. And I'm looking at those limiting beliefs. I'm looking again at my ideas of abundance. I used to work on my scarcity. Now I'm working on my relationship to abundance. And I'm going to be letting go of some limiting ideas there. I'm going to be working a lot with some manifestations. I took 2 classes this year that were really great for me. One of them was with Reverend Terry, and I'm really hoping to get her on the podcast. And another one was through a astrologer online. Oath Oracle is her website. These classes were great. With Reverend Terry, it really brought back some of the fundamentals of magic and working with correspondences. It amplified the work I do. She specializes in candle magic, and it was a fantastic class. She's great. She's so much fun. I learned so much from her. So going forward, I know I'm going to be doing a lot more manifestation work on a monthly level. I took the Oath Oracle class, and that focused on, I took it over the eclipses, and it focused on moon manifestation. And it was really cool. I'm going to dive into some astrology, which is a esoteric topic I know very little about. I've only kind of dipped my toe in it. I've tried a couple times, like way in the past, like before computers, to draw up all of the charts using like old school trigonometry. It blew my mind, and I put it down and I dove deeper into tarot, which is great, right? I've been picking that back up and looking at the ideas of astrology, because when you get to it, like a lot of the British traditional witchcraft I do, and even though I'm eclectic and I draw from the Norse and I draw from Wiccan roots and Kabbalistic roots, you know, astrology and the planets play so much a part of it. And I've decided it's about time to learn of that. So I'm letting go of the belief that it's hard or that I can't do it. I'm letting go of that. And the way I'm letting go of it, guys, is just by studying the astrology. I took a moon manifestation class. And it's neat. I'm going to be looking at the moons every month now, what sign the full moon and the new moon's in, and hopefully offering you guys some information about that. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I don't know what else I really have to tell you guys on this beautiful solstice day. Thank you for giving me your ears and listening to me on this beautiful time. I hope this podcast finds you curled up, drinking your favorite beverage with some of the people you love to laugh the most with, really just enjoying yourself. I wish you the most peace and love over these holidays. I'm really excited about going into the new year with you guys. I'm really excited about some of the things I'm planning. And I'm so grateful for you, my listeners. I really am. I hope this isn't too personal and vulnerable of an episode for you. I just wanted to just talk to you and let you know what's happening in my world before we dive into the next season and kind of reflect and sum up. And I just wish you the brightest blessings this solstice season. I will be celebrating with my dear and close coven sister, my soul sister, and her husband. They have an open house every year. And I'm going to be coming down there and spending time with them and playing some board games with them. Hopefully I will get back to the far side of the island, diving in there a bit and getting some water blessings before too long. Blessed solstice to you, my coven, and I'll talk to you soon. remember the word. Oh, where did my thoughts go? I'm blank again. Oh my god. There was so much. Oh, Luna's walking. Let me just wait. Okay, she's gonna go lie down.